Semen retention makes you more attractive. It makes women more attractive to you. And there's various reasons for it, but the truth is that if you've been ejaculating frequently and you're wondering why you're having a difficult time attracting women, then you need to hear what I'm going to tell you in this video. So you're going to learn the 3 main reasons why semen retention makes men more attractive, and you're also going to learn how you can improve this quality of semen retention, increasing your attractiveness. All right, let's get into it. I'm Jonathan White, and I've helped thousands of men from around the world learn to master their sexual energy and create an epic life. Make sure you hit subscribe to stay updated when I drop new videos like this. And because it's not going to be doing you much good to be attracting more women, but have premature ejaculation, make sure you get my free ejaculation control ebook through the link in the description below. I used to struggle with women. My dating life sucked up into my mid-20s. The women I was with were, we'll just say they were not of a very high quality. I was very desperate, I was very needy, and this led me to be in very unhealthy relationship dynamics that led to me getting cheated on, things like that. I think you know the story. When I was 24 years old, 12 years ago, I started practicing semen retention. And almost overnight, my dynamic with women dramatically changed. I was actually shocked by how much more success I was having with women. I went from, going through a year of having no dates, no sex, no women in my life, to literally having women come up to me, invite themselves over to my house, things like this. And to be honest, this would be an unrealistic expectation for most men to have. There's a little more nuance to it than that, but in general, semen retention definitely makes you more attractive as a man. And there's 3 important things you need to understand as to why this is, or why you haven't been experiencing this if you are on semen retention, because there is a little more nuance to this. And first of all, I don't want to be another semen retention bro just saying, yeah man, if you just don't ejaculate, women are just gonna flock to you and they're gonna throw themselves all over you. Like, it's not accurate. It has happened in cases to me, but in general, it's not quite that exaggerated. But there's definitely some truth to this. So the first thing we want to look at is energy. You may or may not be aware that ejaculating takes a lot of resources from the body. It takes a lot of your vital life force energy. If you're the average man in the year 2025, you're ejaculating far too much. Because of internet porn, because of the fact that society has normalized being a porn addiction, men are overstimulated to ejaculate every day. And guess what? This tanks your vitality. In Ayurveda, they talk about a drop of semen being equivalent to, it's like 60 drops of blood, something like that. And so semen is essentially concentrated blood. It's a very refined substance in the body, yet we treat it like it's a waste product and just expel it recklessly. So when you're frequently ejaculating, basically the body is in a state of depletion. And when it doesn't have enough resources to create sperm because you're skeet shooting it out like a kid with a water gun, you get depleted very quickly. And so it starts to take minerals and resources from the organs, from the spinal fluid, from the brain. Your body's ability to function degenerates. And you experience this as having less energy, having brain fog, having depression, feeling unmotivated, feeling a lack of confidence. So all kinds of issues that this causes, right? And so when you stop the leak of your gene, your vital life force energy, by practicing semen retention, you rebuild your bucket, your bank account, your vital energy improves. And if you don't believe me, try it. Go a week without ejaculating. If that's difficult for you to do, then I think we already know that there's a problem there, right? And so how does this lead to being more attractive? Well, what do you think is going to be more attractive? A man who's run his body into the ground from excessive ejaculation and caving into vices, or a man who is overflowing with vital life force energy? Who do you think is going to be more attractive? One has a pale, shriveled face, eyes are sunken in, looking lifeless. The man who's retaining semen, his skin glows, his hair is healthy, his eyes are vibrant and full of life. He has a certain spark to his step, and there's something different in his voice. Which one of these do you think will be more attractive to a woman? And I could end the video here, but we're gonna continue on. So it increases your vital energy. And this will cause you to be more driven. You're going to take more risks. You're no longer functioning out of depletion and trying to take something away from everyone around you. You are overflowing. You're like the sun radiating into the world around you. And the second factor here is hormones in general, but your testosterone increases overall. Because after every ejaculation, the body releases a hormone called prolactin. Prolactin inhibits your testosterone levels. Basically, you become more estrogenic, you become more docile, more lazy, more your testosterone levels become inhibited. And when your testosterone is inhibited, it's easier to accumulate body fat and to be lazier. Things like this. And on a biological level, women are more attracted to men who have higher testosterone levels. They can feel it. They can literally smell it. There's another hormone in the body called androsterone, which is linked to having high testosterone levels. Androsterone is a pheromone. Pheromones are literally excreted from your body. This is what the opposite sex smells on you. They literally smell it. And at a deep primal biological level, it drives an attraction for you. This is why sometimes you see a person, maybe it's not even appropriate, but you can't help but feel this strong physical attraction to them. It's chemistry, baby. It's hormones. You're going to have a stronger pheromone profile, a stronger hormonal profile when you practice semen retention. In contrast, when you're frequently ejaculating, again, your hormones are at a constant low level. You're going to have high prolactin, possibly higher estrogen levels, and your testosterone, your androsterone are not going to be where you want them to be. That will make you less attractive. Dopamine is also important to talk about here. It's not a hormone per se, but it is a neurotransmitter, and I feel that dopamine, as I talked about in other videos, correlates to Jing, J-I-N-G, which in Chinese medicine is basically your vital essence. And so when you're frequently ejaculating, your dopamine levels are super jacked up, especially when you're watching porn. And this causes you to be an addict to dopamine releasing behaviors. Porn and ejaculatory masturbation, scrolling through social media, doom scrolling, things like this. And it makes you addictive. And also having low dopamine levels makes you more likely to experience social anxiety, ADHD type behaviors. You're not going to have very good presence and focus, which women like a man who feels grounded and strong and confident. So all of this is impacted by frequent ejaculation. And so when you practice semen retention, your dopamine levels increase overall. Your dopamine receptors in your brain can normalize and rewire so that you feel okay just being alive. You don't need to constantly be looking at a screen or jacking off to porn just to feel okay, just to go to sleep at night. And this improves your focus and your concentration, which leads to behaviors that will be more attractive to women, like developing skills, having more presence in social situations, having more confidence in carrying out a conversation and pursuing your interests in life because you're not too busy and distracted and run down to do it. There's nothing women love more than a man who's on a mission, whose priority is to kick some ass out in the world. You know, the warrior who goes out to battle to save his family, but that's more of a metaphorical thing these days. And then the third thing is magnetism. What does all of this lead to? Increased yang energy, masculine energy. There's yin and yang, and attraction, sexual attraction is based on polarity. It's based on strong feminine being attracted to strong masculine. Of course, there's all kinds of variations of this in the modern world, but at its base, this is what's driving all sexual attraction. And the more you increase the polarity, the stronger the attraction is. So if you want to attract a feminine woman, then you need to be a strong masculine man. Going back to what I was talking about, pheromones create a communication with the opposite sex. The communication says, hey, baby, I'm juicy, I'm healthy, I'm fertile, I've got an abundance of life force energy to impregnate you with. Come at me, babe. It's this subconscious communication. Again, you can't really contrive these things. You can only so much. You can use body language and things like that, but at a primal level, most of what's driving sexual attraction is completely biological. It's completely unconscious. And so when you have a high level of energy, when your hormones, your testosterone is high, it makes you magnetic. Simple as that. Your energy field, your aura, it's a readout of your physical body. It's a readout of your overall health, your vitality, the thought forms that you have. And when you're a man who lives in depletion, when you're addicted, you have a weak mind, your vitality is low, your hormones are low, you don't have a very strong readout. It's like trying to light up a 100-watt light bulb with 5 watts. You know, it's just kind of like zzz, 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 to really faint glow. Now, when you're practicing retention, when you are building up your sexual energy, when your body and mind are functioning optimally, your hormonal profile is maximized, your aura becomes expansive, becomes supercharged, and they walk around and they're just like, damn, I don't know what this guy's doing, but I just want to be around him. And this isn't just sexual attraction, it's people in general feel more magnetized by you. They feel more drawn to you. This was another thing I noticed when I started practicing retention, is that people just wanted to talk to me more. They wanted to get to know me more, women and men. I found it very interesting, and it had a lot of benefits for my social life, my life as an entrepreneur, new opportunities came my way, and of course, my sex life all significantly improved from this. Now, a lot of men are concerned with this. I've heard from a lot of men who are like, hey, Jonathan, I've been practicing semen retention, but I'm not attracting women. What's happening here? So I want to share some ways that you can increase this ability for semen retention to create attraction for you. The first thing is that, like I mentioned before, this isn't like you start doing semen retention, women just flock to you all of a sudden. Semen retention is just one thing that's going to affect all these things I've talked about. Now, it's a big one. It is a big one. It's probably the biggest thing you can do. But if your diet completely sucks, if you're taking drugs every day, if you're smoking weed every day, drinking alcohol all the time, if you're super, super stressed out, running your body into the ground, like, semen retention will help, but it can't compensate for a terrible lifestyle. So my philosophy in sexual kung fu is that semen retention is just one piece of the picture, but it's an important one. So it's always good to look into, are you taking care of yourself in general? The first thing I'll recommend as a retention attraction booster is going to be practicing energy circulation. In sexual kung fu, again, semen retention is just it's just something that we do on top of everything else. It's not the be all end all. It's just if you want to fill up your bucket, you got to plug the leak. And that's what semen retention is. But beyond that, we want to refine that energy. We want to move it through the body, because if you're just okay, no more ejaculating, your energy can get very stagnant. Your sexual energy can become stagnant. And over time, your hormones start to suffer. You feel stagnant, angry, irritable. It can even amplify some of your social anxiety patterns, your self-consciousness, etc. So semen retention itself isn't the fix-all. It's part of a picture in sexual kung fu. So energy circulation practices, doing qigong, doing breath work, balancing your nervous system, specifically moving this jing qi, the essence of your sexual energy, through your body. I have a guided video that's the #1 practice to do this, called testicle breathing. I'll put a link to that video because you really want to have a practice when you're doing this stuff, okay? So do that, and that's going to make you more magnetic, because your sexual energy moves from the genitals, you're circulating it through your whole body, it's enmeshed in your being. Everything you do, you're putting your sexual energy into, and you get juiced up. So I put neediness here as not something that you need to do, but something you want to be aware of and drop it, because the pattern I've seen is there's a lot of men who get into semen retention hoping to attract women, because often it's a dynamic of they're extremely shy and they don't want to have to talk to women. They don't want to have to make a move. They want women to come to them, to start the conversation with them, to make the moves on them so that they don't have to do anything. And for the majority of the time, that's just not going to happen. Now, I have had instances where it did happen, and there's always that possibility, but in general, it's unrealistic to expect women to just throw themselves at you. So you got to make the move. And this may sound paradoxical at this point, is don't get into semen retention and feeling like, I must attract women, I need them to be attracted to me. This is just an ego thing. It shows there's some underlying patterns of a lack of self-love, a lack of self-respect, really, to where you feel like you need a woman's attention, sexual attraction, and love just to feel good about yourself. So there's a whole realm of inner work here that needs to be done, of accepting yourself, loving yourself, and not needing a woman's validation. And paradoxically, that will make you more attractive to women. The whole thing with sexual energy, it's very sticky. So there's the potential to amplify your unconscious patterns when you're doing semen retention, which is why I teach sexual kung fu as a whole system, where you're doing a lot of work with your emotions, balancing your mind, and things like that. So having said that, when you let go of this need to get something for women and you're able to just enjoy your life, don't be focused on, am I attracting this woman? Is she feeling my sexual energy? Is she gonna come talk to me? Don't worry about that shit. If you see a woman, you're attracted to her, talk to her, you know what I mean? And yeah, it takes a certain degree of boldness to be able to do that, but that's a whole practice within itself. And the big solution here is boldness. Boldness will mean something different for different people, but what I mean by boldness is really allowing yourself to be yourself, because so many people have these masks of self-restraint. Okay, I can only say what I think this person wants me to say, and especially this is true when men are interacting with women. They really filter themselves, I need this woman to like me, so I need to be nice to her, I need to compliment her in this certain blah, 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 blah. And women can feel that you're holding yourself back. They can feel that you're just kind of like really restrained in your expression, and this is unattractive. So the more you allow yourself to be yourself, to have no agenda when you're interacting with people, but to just be as authentic and express yourself in a fun and spontaneous way, the more attractive it's going to make you. And naturally, semen retention will cause this for a lot of men. Like when you're no longer in a state of depletion, you're more likely just to be like free-flowing and socially bold and confident. But for some men, this is a big issue. And I have to say for myself, this was something I struggled with even when I started practicing semen retention. And I had to specifically cultivate this quality. So for me, semen retention did increase my attractiveness, 100%. But once I started doing all this work on top of it, these things just amplified tremendously. And the biggest thing here is the nice guy pattern, where you are a people pleaser, you're afraid to be yourself, you put women on this pedestal to where they become this unattainable thing. And you put sex on a pedestal, which makes it elusive, because once you actually have it, you're in a state of worry and self-judgment about if I'm going to ejaculate too soon, or is she enjoying this, etc. So that's all the nice guy trap, and this is the way to overcome it. If you want me to make a video talking about overcoming nice guy syndrome, let me know in the comments. And another point I want to make here is that when I'm talking about semen retention, I'm not talking about withholding from sexual pleasure. That is not part of sexual kung fu, and not withholding from self-pleasure. I feel that sexual pleasure is an important thing for being a human, for being a fulfilled, embodied, empowered human being. I think that sexual pleasure is dramatically important for your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health. And for me, having a self-pleasure practice helped me overcome my neediness, because now I found a way to fulfill my sexual needs so that I wasn't constantly like feeling that women were this elusive thing on a pedestal that I had to convince to be able to have sex with me just to feel fulfilled. And that gave me a lot of freedom in my life, because I've now felt in control of my sexual pleasure and fulfillment. Then it became something fun to spontaneously share with my sexual partner, instead of being able to only get scraps of it here and there. I hope that makes sense. What I'm getting at here is that in sexual kung fu, we train to be multi-orgasmic. So you learn to have orgasms without ejaculating, so that you can practice semen retention even when you're having sex every day. That's what I do. So you've learned why semen retention increases your attraction, and you've learned some ways to help improve this. You might be asking yourself, well, how long am I supposed to retain my semen? Am I supposed to never ever ejaculate again, or I lose all this? So now I want you to watch a video I made on the semen retention timeline, so you understand the right timeline for practicing semen retention, so you can get the maximum benefit from it and still make it a sustainable lifestyle. I'll put a link to that video. And if you have a friend who's really struggling with women, send them this video. It could change their life. Give this video a like, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and again, grab my free ebook that will teach you ejaculation control techniques, because the attraction doesn't do you much good if you can't bring it in the bedroom, baby. Have a great day and take care out there, boys.